Hello, welcome to our Ask the Auditor session. I'm joined today by representatives from each of the three auditors that we work with on the Energy Resilience Fund. I'd like to introduce Georgia from Arcadis. We've got Catherine from Turner and Townsend and Emma from WSP. If you are applying for property improvements through the Energy Resilience Fund, then you'll need an energy audit that has been completed within the last 2 years. If you don't already have an audit, then one can be paid for through the fund. The audits are carried out by one of our three providers, and they will work with you to see which measures will work for your property by carrying out a site visit. Today, we are going to run through some of the most commonly asked questions about energy audits to help you better understand what an audit is, why you should get one, and what to expect from the process. So, Georgia, I will start by asking you, what is an energy audit and why might an organisation need one?
Thank you, Cam. Yeah, so an energy audit is an assessment of a site's current energy performance. So it looks at how a site uses energy or could generate energy on site. The main goal is typically to identify practical opportunities to save energy or reduce carbon. During an energy audit, we'll look at a range of factors. This could include lighting, heating, cooling, controls, fabric, with a consideration for opportunities to use renewables. This process will typically uncover inefficiencies and highlight where improvements can be made. And it typically follows a be lean, be clean, and be green hierarchy for buildings. So, why do you need one? So, there are many reasons to get an audit done. Firstly, it can help identify measures to help reduce your site's carbon emissions. So, by improving the efficiency of existing systems or switching out gas systems for electric or renewable alternatives, you can reduce your site's carbon footprint, and this can help meet future regulations or your site's sustainability or organisational goals. Identified measures can also reduce your site's energy consumption and therefore your operating costs, lowering energy bills over time. And measures can also identify how to improve occupier comfort of buildings. Lastly, it can help prioritise investment. So an audit can provide a clear plan so you can focus on your measures and which measures will suit your situation best. For example, if you want to look at the most cost-effective measures or energy-saving measures first. It's a vital first step to help making your site more sustainable. So overall, it can provide insight and a practical roadmap to prioritise feasible energy-saving opportunities.
Thanks, Georgia. That's really helpful. So, Catherine, I'll come to you now. What information might you need from an organisation, and what if some of that information isn't available?
Of course. So essentially, the more information you can share, the more prepared an auditor can be before they go to visit your site, and the more assumptions they can make in the follow-on report at the end. So the highest priority are things like your asbestos registers, health and safety documents, and particularly your gas and electricity bills. These would ideally be as recent as possible, and for the electricity and gas, ideally a full year's worth of data. If you have half-hourly data available, that is also preferred, as then we can get more accurate data once we fill in the calculations and do the final report. The more medium priority are things like your site plan to essentially give us an idea of what to expect when we go to visit the site. This also means we can plan whether it will be a 2-hour audit or half a day based on the size of your property. If any information isn't available, that is okay. We can often do assumptions based on your floor plan size or what you tend to use in other parts of the building if you don't have it for all parts. And equally, if worse comes to worse, we can use similar industry-based buildings to come up with an estimate. But obviously, that would lead to your calculations being more of a suggestive figure than actual representation. So the more information you can give your auditor, the better your results will be.
Thank you, Catherine. Emma, coming to you now. How long does the audit process usually take?
Yeah, so once an application is allocated to one of our technical auditors, we'll aim to complete the site visit within 15 business days. We coordinate this with applicants to schedule the site visit around your operations, and we're mindful of business as usual to try and work flexibly around your schedule to reduce the impact on your day-to-day. We use the data and information that you've provided as part of your application as a starting point for the audit. And we may also request a small amount of additional supporting information to complete the audit as accurately as possible. And from that site visit, we'll then take a further 15 business days to complete our analysis and write-up. And this is then issued to the applicant once that's complete. After the report's been provided, we then carry out a follow-on support where we'll talk through the findings, explain the energy and carbon saving recommendations, and try to answer any questions you might have about the report. This is completed within 15 business days after you've received your audit report, so you have a chance to ask questions whilst the audit remains fresh in your mind.
Thank you, Emma. Okay, so now let's talk about the site visit itself. Georgia, who needs to be there on the day, and how long will the visit usually take?
So ideally, someone who knows the site and the systems will be present there on the day. So this can be a facilities manager or a site manager. If there is no dedicated site manager, it can just be anyone who regularly uses the site and can point out known issues and what you kind of want to get out of the audit as well. And they should hopefully have access to all areas as well, like plant rooms. How long it takes normally depends on the size and complexity of the site. A typical energy audit could take around a couple of hours to half a day, but larger or more complex sites like multi-tenanted office buildings or a site over a large floor area can take a lot longer. But once the audit is instructed, we'll provide an estimated time before the site visit so you can plan who should be there and for how long. From our side, normally only one energy assessor attends, but we'll also confirm this beforehand and provide their details before the visit.
Thank you. Katrin, then, what happens during the site visit, and will you need to see all parts of the building?
Yeah, so on the site visit, the auditor or auditors will meet you, or as George said, the facilities manager, and they'll walk around the site as best as they can and seeing as much as possible. Ideally, we'd be able to get into every room, and then that covers being able to see everything, but we don't want to disrupt your day-to-day. So as long as there's areas that we can confidently see, often estimates can be made for other parts if it's not accessible to go in at that point in time. Every room will want to be visited, but that's not always possible. And if they're not accessible, we can just adapt that and go through. But often the audit will see as much as possible. So the more information, the more accurate your analysis can be. So ensuring places are available for access pre-visit is really important. And that will be discussed before anyone visits the site and as part of your kind of initial email to make sure the date's booked in at something that works best for both parties.
Thank you. Okay, so now let's talk about what happens after the site visit. Emma, could you tell us what happens next?
Sure. So after that site visit, we move into the analysis and reporting stage. And this is where we analyse how the building is currently using energy, what systems are in place, and identify practical energy saving measures that are appropriate for how your business runs. We're very focused on practical and deliverable measures and things that are actually realistic for the building and how it's used. So the energy audit report is provided within those 15 business days of the site visit, and it sets out the site's current energy performance, the list of prioritised recommendations with high-level cost savings and carbon impacts. Once the report's shared, it's then a further 15 business days for follow-on support, and this typically includes a video call to talk through the findings, explain any technical points, and answer questions to make sure the report's clear and useful for decision-making in your business. If any small changes are required to improve clarity, they then can be picked up as part of that process.
Thanks very much. Georgia, then, could you go into a bit more detail about what the audit report will actually contain, please?
So the audit report will firstly describe the site assessed and set the baseline. So this will cover the fabric, heating, cooling, ventilation systems, and show the site's existing annual energy consumption alongside its associated costs. These baseline figures are important because they serve as a reference point for all the savings shown later on in the report. The core of the report is the list of proposed energy and carbon improvement measures. For each measure, we'll provide a description and we'll include any key considerations for implementation, and we'll provide key savings and financial metrics. This can include the estimated annual energy savings, your carbon savings, your estimated annual cost savings, which is calculated using the new proposed energy consumption and energy unit rates. And lastly, we'll provide a high-level installation cost and a payback period. The payback period refers to the amount of time it takes to recover the cost of the investment. Shorter payback periods generally indicate a quicker financial return, and those measures are strong for early implementation. However, longer term measures with longer payback periods can support your long-term decarbonisation goals. This will all be presented in a table for the individual measures and a combined option as well. And all of these metrics enable a comparison of measures based on both financial, energy use, and carbon impact. If you ever have any questions about the report or the figures, do reach out to your energy assessor and we'll be happy to explain or have that call to go through the figures.
Thank you. Katrin, then, how does an organisation decide which of these measures are best for their building?
So when you receive the report, we'll give you a table that will give you an idea of what recommendations are applicable for you, but also what will help reduce your business energy and create those kind of carbon improvements. As we've mentioned, you will get an opportunity to speak with the auditors once you get the report. So it won't just be a blind kind of giving it to you and the decision on you. It's something we can discuss and help shape alongside what you're thinking or what you want to prioritise. To help achieve this, often there's kind of 6 categories that things are broken down to. So we've got something that will prioritise measuring and reporting energy emissions and consumption, improvements to the operational efficiency of the building, followed by a transition to low carbon sources for heating and water systems and generating clean energy on site, to finally procuring renewable electricity and eventually offsetting any remaining emissions. This will allow for you to see what could be prioritised and when. And as we mentioned, each thing will come with payback periods and ideas of how much it will cost you and when you might get that investment back. This will be a bit of a steer and also can be used from talking to you on the site. We can see what ones you're more passionate about or what ones you think will provide your building or your business that better opportunity. So there's no one size fits all, and it will fit to be what we've seen on site and what we think will be the most beneficial for you.
Thank you. And then finally, Emma, what are the next steps once that report is completed?
Yeah, so once that audit report and follow-on support is finalised, the report becomes your guide for what to do next. It aims to give you a clear, prioritised list of measures, which helps you decide on what you want to take forward and in what order. At that point, organisations generally start getting quotes from contractors using their normal procurement routes. So this is based on the measures set out in our report as well. Our role isn't to appoint contractors on your behalf, but the follow-on support is there to help you feel confident about what scope you're taking out to the market. From the programme side, once the technical audit work is complete, SIB are notified and your relationship manager gets in touch to talk through the funding and next steps under the Energy Resilience Fund. The aim of the audit is to support a funding application, but funding decisions are made separately following the assessment.
Thank you, Emma, and thank you all very much. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you for your time listening today, and I hope everyone's found that helpful.